Am I the villain?
Let's start, shall we?
Give me one
All
second
right.
here. Hang on. I just want to close the drawer before it gets too noisy, you know?
Hmm.
Shit. I gotta pee.
My
I had a whole
fucking
cup.
Christ.
I had a giant cup of water, bro.
Hurry up.
This was supposed to get me through an hour, and Alex derailed everything. Give me a minute, okay?
That doesn't determine how thirsty you fucking are.
I know, right? I mean, you were drinking water way before I was even in the
Right, exactly.
equation.
So how's everything, man?
Well, so far so good. I mean, I'm slowly creeping my way to where I want to be. So, you should be hearing about that shit soon. Oh yeah.
That's
Other than
good.
that, it's just been slowly losing my sanity here at home.
Yeah.
But I've been busy. And yourself?
Well, I'm an essential worker, so yeah,
Nah.
that speaks for itself. So,
Damn.
but that's
Are
something
you?
I
Did they
wanna.
cut?
That's something I'll go into in detail in a couple minutes. So.
So fuck. Did they cut back your hours, or are you still
Oh
working
hell
full
no!
time?
I'd be pissed. I'm working 40 hours a week, and then if I work 40 hours a week, they pay me. They give an extra $100 on my paycheck. So.
Oh fuck
something.
yeah!
Yeah, and I already get paid almost 17 an hour, so we're good.
Damn it! Dan was worried that I'd be the disruptive one.
Right.
What did he say? I missed it.
He said he was worried that you would be be the disruptive one.
His mother.
And here I am trying to act as professional as possible, since podcast is serious business.
So is your mom's vagina.
See, exactly. See? Dan was worried that I was going to be the canceled. I'm like, nah. This is going to be my moment to shine, motherfucker.
So, let's start.
All right. You guys have like an
today-
intro?
Nah, we should, but it's only like our first couple podcasts, so we're just rolling with it right now.
I would say, Joey, just record an intro and outro and just edit it into the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
you can quickly do it, and I derail you.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that in the first 2 episodes.
So, yeah, so we're joined today by our good friend Lex, as he liked to be called,
or Icky Vicky, as I like to call him. Oh, by the way, I'm Dan.
Yeah, I'm Joey. But if you've listened to us before, you already know that. So, guys, how's it been the last week? You know, we talked about this last week about like the coronavirus is just starting to affect us, really. But doing a little check-in here. How's everything going so far?
Joey, why don't you go first?
Okay, well,
since you own stuff.
Well, as you know, Home Depot's still open. I'm an essential worker, so I have to work no matter what.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Does that cover the gardening section?
Yes.
Okay.
So everything in Home Depot, paint and garden, everything is fucking open. So if you need to go to Home Depot to get your non-essential shit, don't worry because we'll be there.
Yeah.
But I'm still working my 40 hours as I talked with Lex a couple minutes ago while you were in the bathroom. So the company decided to give us extra sick time. So full-timers have an extra 80 hours of sick time, and part-timers have an extra 40 hours of sick time to cover, like, you know, like a 2-week quarantine if needed and whatnot. So that's a plus. And then if you work a certain amount of hours, you get an extra kicker into your check every week. So like if you work 40 hours, you get an extra $100 on your check. If you work 35 and below, you get $50, and then so on and so forth. So there's incentives to keep working. Obviously, you know, they're trying to make it as safe as possible. They've already limited the amount of people that can be at the store at one time. We're at 100, but I can see us getting down to 50 pretty soon. So There's that.
Um,
Yesterday,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but I'm just out of curiosity, if you can tell us, at least specifically about your store, what are the things your store is doing to help prevent a store outbreak, I guess I'll call it, or like you guys getting sick?
so I mean, in terms of what's actually possible,
Hmm.
I mean, they're making us all wear gloves. Yesterday they gave us these like forehead thermometers. We had to check our temperature every day. If it's 100.4, we have to call out and not go to work.
Hmm.
If we have any of the symptoms, we have to call out and not go to work. And then those 80 hours / 40 hours, depending if you're part time or full time, it's free to use.
Hmm.
Like there's no questions asked. Just say, hey, listen, I'm staying home, to prevent like to self quarantine.
Hmm.
They're not going to ask any questions. Nothing to worry about. What you call it? Yesterday, there was a worker who openly talked out loud that his sister-in-law has the coronavirus, and he's like nonchalantly
Fuck.
talking about it. And this is hard for me to explain it without like getting emotional, but
Yeah.
he's saying that he and his wife took his sister-in-law to the hospital, and his sister-in-law checked herself out of the hospital before the test came back. And meanwhile, all this time, his wife is going to check up on her sister, take care of her sister and whatnot. And so like, okay, so then normally you would have to quarantine yourself from your wife and everyone else. But he wasn't doing that. His wife was going to check up on his sister-in-law,
Hmm.
and then coming back and then interacting with him on a regular basis. And then they found out that his sister-in-law has coronavirus.
Hmm.
So he's still at work. He had indirect contact with someone who has coronavirus, and he's still at work, knowing the severity of the situation. You know,
So again, sorry, I just want to make sure there's some clarities on certain things. Do the managers of the store, aren't you like a supervisor of some sort or like a
no,
key
I'm not.
holder?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. I got that mixed up, I guess, in my mind.
So he didn't tell anyone about it. If he'd never said anything, we would have never known. But the my fellow workers said something to the managers, and they immediately sent him home. They were looking at cameras to see like if he touched the time clock, because we all touched the fucking time clock.
Yeah.
So thankfully he didn't punch in through the time clock. He did it through a computer. So we didn't we like it isn't like a mass you know spread of it in the store as far as we know, but definitely had my heart racing.
Yeah.
And I told Darlene I almost didn't want to tell her because knowing how
She's,
she gets.
yeah.
So I definitely, I've had a rough week, and I'm sure a lot of people have,
Yeah.
and a lot of people still are, and they will for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
It'll be tough for everyone, but definitely a big scare, especially when I'm an essential worker, and I can't just stay home for 2 weeks. I have to make money, especially when they're doing that kicker on the end of my check.
Yeah.
That will really help me out. So I know that people would understand where I come from on that aspect of it.
So obviously, uh, you know what you risk. Now, was this person after they came in contact with that person? Was this person in and out the store for like a week straight, or was it like the morning of he came in, someone found out, and immediately said something?
Yeah, well, thankfully it's Monday. That worker, like there's certain positions in the store that work certain days, so that worker only works Monday through Friday. So, he was talking about they found out over the weekend, and then he came into work on Monday, and that's when everyone found out, and they sent his ass home.
Do you know like roughly how long he was there for?
Well,
Before he got sent home?
I got in at 9:30, so it'll have to have been like.
Oh, so
like
this went
11.
down before you got there.
No, it was while I was there, but
Oh.
I wasn't present for that.
Okay.
It's common word. Word spreads in that store.
So giant fucking warehouse. You're gonna find out at some point.
Right. So
Yeah.
So we found out, and that was that. But yeah, we don't know what. Like, I don't know what he touched. I was just told that he didn't touch the time clock, and so we didn't have to worry about that because usually we all are wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Since
But when you
all
get
this
to the
shit
time
started.
clock,
Yeah,
when you get to the
but
time
when
clock,
you get to
it's
time
like
clock, when I'm going into work and punching in, I don't have gloves. There's no gloves in the break room, so there's only gloves at my desk and where everyone works.
yeah.
So I mean, I touched it with my bare hands. So
Just like everyone else
there's
would have.
always so there's always that fear. There's always that fear of catching it through that way. So but knowing that he indirectly was in contact with someone who had it,
Yeah.
definitely would freak everyone out in the store.
Now, this is your life. It's now or never. You're not going to live forever. Do you feel like now you should self-quarantine? Or...
That's the thing, is that they, right after we found out he found out that his sister-in-law has it, they were passing out those forehead thermometers. So they were like definitely like a cough and your temperature is the first sign of like having it. So they like every morning check your temperature. If it's over 100.4, stay home.
Yeah.
If you feel sick, then don't hesitate to call out.
Naturally, yeah.
And whatnot. So I mean, if the time comes where I feel like I have to take time off, I will.
But until that moment or time comes, hopefully it doesn't.
Right.
But if it does, you will. But do you feel like your hand is forced that you should be at work?
No, I mean, I want to be at work.
Okay.
It's not like, I mean, I'm hoping and praying that they shut everything down, even essential businesses, so I don't have to go to work. But I'm not so willing to jump on those extra 80 hours of sick time that I have,
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then outside of that, how's the rest of your week been, darling?
It's basically just been work, work and dealing with customers. And it's not just our store that has to deal with like bullshit. It's every store. Like there was an article here in the Buffalo News where they even name dropped some associates from the other stores complaining about customers coming in and buying paint and shit that they don't really need. Like they would just go into the store and buy shit because they're bored of being at home.
Or stuff they can have sent to them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's getting bad. Really bad, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's only going to stop once, someone has it. That's the only way it's going to stop where like people have it in the stores. That's the only way the store is going to close down.
So there's talk going around, and I was talking to Lex about it earlier. 2 Market Basket employees in Chelsea tested positive.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So the the sad part about essential businesses only being open is now like that's where you're centralizing the next set of outbreaks. They're going to be coming from stores like a Home Depot, a Walmart, a Target, a Market Basket, because that's where everyone's going to be going. People who don't show symptoms or asymptomatic, I believe is the term, that's where they're going to go to get groceries at least. And if they do have it, they're going to spread it by going to these stores, just touching the door.
Yeah.
100 other people are easily going to get it. The sad reality of what this is.
I think we're at one point we're all gonna get it. It's just, like they say, the curve. They flatten the curve.
Yeah.
Making sure that not everyone doesn't get it at the same time. So
Yeah. I know here in Massachusetts, you can probably chime in better than I could because I'm sure you're paying better attention than I can right now. Um, did I say his actual name?
if you did, I'll bleep it out. So
Okay, cool. So let me rewind and play that line again. Lex, please jump in because you may have the information better than I do or know it better than I would. Um, I believe Governor Baker came out today. He said May 4th is when the new advisory deadline is. Um, so we're closed till then. But I was seeing numbers for Massachusetts climbing, of course, but it's starting to climb at a slower rate because people on to the most part, I guess, are listening and are doing just that, staying at home when they don't need to be out and about. I know me and Nige, we've been going stir crazy about like not being able to really go anywhere. Like I'm very much like I have asthma, I have high blood pressure. I'm 30, so my back always aches. Uh, so now it's just like, okay, let's not go out if we don't need to. Let's be in the least amount of contact with the least number of people as possible. Like right now, me and Nige, we live together in a small apartment. We're in a small studio. Joey, Lex, you saw it recently. Like you guys get it. It's like it barely holds 5 people, much less 2 is barely adequate for the number of people in the space. So we have to be in constant contact. And so like I'm making sure I'm not in contact with too many other people. Like the only people I would ever be in contact with the way I'm living my life right now is whoever else lives in the building. If I bump into them going up and down the stairs or going in and out of the elevator, maybe talking to the super of the building. And of course, the store owner, we kind of have to be in constant contact with each other. We try to keep a distance as much as possible because if we're alone in a room, we don't need to be like face to face, or we can be 6 feet away and talk to each other, no problem. So we're doing our best that way, but I still get concerned because it's like you never know who might have it, and you might bump into someone who has it who don't know they have it, sort of thing. So of course we're all on high alert, but it sounds like for at least the last week, it's already started to help in Massachusetts where things are starting to dip a little, but it's slowing down, but it's not stopping. And from I'm hearing different things that like in the virus doesn't do well in heat. So like I'm hearing things that people are going to Florida to escape this, or that like we're gonna it's till May now because it's like that's when it should start warming up. But like we live in the Northeast, weather knows no season knows no bounds in the Northeast. Like it was spring a few days ago, and it started snowing.
spring. It was summer up here in Buffalo, dude. It was 70 at one
I
point.
I think it hit that like here a little bit too. Maybe not 70, but like mid to high 60 sort of thing. But then it started raining, so it kind of just canceled that out at one point. But it sounds like it's again flatten the curve. It's starting to go that direction, but we still got a long way to go. And I forget where I even started this. I think the actual numbers for Massachusetts at least are starting to dip down, but it's still going up, of course.
Yeah. So Lex, How have you been handling this?
Did he leave us? Lex, we can't hear you. Hey, Joey, if I say something really loud, is it going to hurt your ears really bad right now?
Let me just get away from the microphone.
All right.
I'm there. I'm back. I just would not open the window.
I'm mad.
Sorry, I
that
didn't.
No, so
Sorry.
we just wanted to know how you've been handling, the whole coronavirus. Whether you've been working, I don't know if you've been working or the quarantining, but we just want to know how you've been handling it.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much, I've been working from home for the past 3 weeks now. So for the most part, I've been avoiding actual contact with people. I mean, I've only gone out for jogs, and that's about it. For the most part, not only are people adhering to the social distancing, they're literally terrified of interacting with another person in the streets. I was coming back from a jog, and I saw this lady hugging a bush in order to avoid it getting anywhere near me.
Well, I mean, I've met you. I don't blame them.
So, I recently watched a video where someone went out for a jog, and they were like, "Oh, just treat it like a racist Asian lady. Just cross the street when you go up to somebody."
My God.
Hey, I didn't say that. I just heard it from another video.
You're just quoting.
I'm just quoting.
You're not saying
anyways,
that's right, but it's just the idea that, like, oh, it's funny, just cross the street to get away from them.
Yeah. Anyways,
I wish it were that easy to get away from a lot of things these days, but...
Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so as I'm sure you guys are both aware, I do work 2 jobs. Technically, my main job on Monday through Friday is considered essential. I don't want to delve too deep into that just because I feel like that will give away my identity. But the other one, actually both of them would give away my identity. Just to at least give you an idea, both of them are involved at the forefront of, one is to provide information regarding the coronavirus, or at least notify the public, and the other one is fighting, or at least doing what they can to create the vaccine for the coronavirus. So I do have, I've heard some things, regarding that, but from what it's starting to look like, I mean, it's going to be a while before a vaccine's available to the public, since they still have to do human trials and whatnot.
I've heard they've started some sort of testing. Again, you would probably know better than I would. That testing, it's not human testing. I know that for damn sure. We're far away from that. But like certain testing has already started, and that's because of some work that people did in China getting the information about the virus online to scientists who would need that information. So that saved them like 6 months.
Yeah, the only thing about China, I wish they were a little bit more
forthcoming with information.
Yeah, since I mean China does have a reputation of not exactly providing with the most accurate information, and don't take it from me. It's
what China's our best friend.
Yeah, so I would take whatever they release to the public with a grain of salt, as with most data.
When you say that, like, also, like, I'm pretty sure the reports have been out over the past week, or at least end of last week going into this week, that things seem to be getting better in China. I don't know how true that is, of course, because it's China.
Yeah, because here's the thing. They recently reopened the movie theaters for, like, less than a day, and then they closed it up.
See, I feel like that'd be one of the last places you open up to the public. You start, like, gatherings of 25 people, have, like, a small concert, and then go from there. But you go straight to movie theater? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, so as of right now, it's just going to be interesting to see what they do in order to, I don't know, try to attempt to return everything to, like, some sort of sense of, like, just sense of normal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, for the most part, I've mostly been just stuck at home, working from home. Well, I guess, like I said, I'm trying to keep not necessarily my identity. I just don't want to reveal the nature of my jobs, just because I feel
Oh
like.
no, that's fine.
Yeah, man, you don't really have to go into it if you don't feel comfortable doing that.
I mean, I'll just
It's
say
just
that. I'll just
interesting
say.
to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I'll say this much. I work for the state government for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So the Governor Baker is technically like my superior, like my boss from a distance, since I
Mm-hmm.
work under his administration. And so we've been getting constant emails about, you know, some of the stuff that the state of Massachusetts is prepared to do. As of right now, I'm not sure if it's known to a lot of people, but the state of Massachusetts, I believe, has $13.5 billion in surplus money for as an emergency fund or a rainy day fund in the event of an emergency like this.
Now, was that money that opened up to them because they declared a state of emergency?
No, this is prior to that. This is money that's been raised due to
money they've
Okay.
all
been
the
stacking
taxes.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I just wanted to clarify because I know like everyone's declaring state of emergency and rightfully so, and I know that opens up certain pockets to them of money,
yeah, so this is the money that the Baker administration has raised since he came into position of power.
which was
So pretty,
roughly 4 years ago now.
yeah, give or take.
Oh,
So
okay.
pretty much this rainy fund is pretty much for essentials, like pretty much in order to make sure that the state is still running smoothly. Make sure that the T's operating, even though it barely
Yes.
operates as it is. Stuff like that. To ensure that service isn't like stopped at all.
And
So
to
I
be
would say,
clear, when you say the T barely operates as is, we mean before all this went down.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure as you guys have experienced yourselves, a few years back we had that snowmageddon that
Yeah,
brought the entire state of Massachusetts and the city of Boston to its knees.
yeah, pretty much.
And just as a reminder, that's over 5 years ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we really
basically,
haven't recovered
if
from
you
it.
had to take the orange line or the red line, you're pretty much screwed.
Oh
So,
no, during that whole thing, if you had to take any kind of public transportation, you weren't getting anywhere.
well, the green line was pretty good. Like I was
No, it
just
was
because
not.
because I had to go to school and I still was able to get to school fairly easily. So the green line
Oh,
was
fuck
okay.
y'all. I lived on the red line during that time, and
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If either the orange or the red line, you're fucked.
in my mind, like if you lived anywhere on the T, you were just fucked. But as you were saying, I'm sorry.
Sorry, where did we leave off? Oh, right, the whole snowmageddon.
Yeah, rainy day fund for
Yeah, so
Massachusetts.
I would say, I wouldn't say with 100% certainty, but I would say that the state of Massachusetts is well prepared for something like this. I mean, it's going to take a while. I'm not going to say people aren't going to be affected. I mean, we've been getting a lot of phone calls from different programs since I'm involved with early education. Like
Hmm.
various programs have been calling us, complaining that I guess it's a good way to get it out to the public. But so with the government baker's announcement of shutting down businesses and whatnot, one of the things that was affected was a bunch of childcare programs,
Oh, wow.
school age, large groups.
Yeah,
So,
he mentioned that in today's press conference as well.
but the issue being is that these programs, a bunch of them are still charging for service that's not being rendered.
Oh,
So a lot of parents are still essentially being not I wouldn't say forced, but in order
build.
for them to yeah, they're still being billed in order to maintain their spot in these programs. So
Wow.
they would have to remain in compliance, or else they will lose their spot in these programs.
That's some other shady shit right there.
Yeah, so a lot of the calls we've been receiving these last few weeks is they want to know if there's anything they can do on their end to see if it's mandatory for them to pay. And unfortunately, the way the law has been written and set forth by the powers that be, who are are way above my pay grade. Um, as it stands, yeah, if they wish to remain part of that program, uh, they will essentially have to pay, even though their kids aren't attending these programs. For a lot of parents, it's just they have no other option. So it's either they pay I mean, the way they described it to us, it's essentially like a gym membership. That even if you don't attend, you still have to pay.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. That's some shit. That's
So, I
some real
mean,
shit.
one way or another, I do believe that there will be a huge fallback, um, for regards to this, and hopefully they do change the language and, legal it changes the language to see what happens. But unfortunately, like with a lot of things, once you agree to a contract, there's really no other way around it. It's just what's unfortunately happening to a lot of these parents.
And sadly, like a lot of those parents are also, how do I put this? Very much
Unemployed.
live paycheck to paycheck. Don't really have a rainy day fund themselves. I'm
Exactly.
hoping, I'm hoping there's something on the other end once like they can start going back to childcare. I don't know if not all childcare is year round, of course, but hopefully like some of these, if they are year round, that like they'll I don't know like use it as like a like oh you paid this month didn't use it because well everything was going to hell. So
Well,
in August you don't have to pay in August or September or something like that. I doubt that's what will happen.
so
And I'm
I will
sure a
say
lot of these
this much.
businesses are kind of need that money. Otherwise, they go out of business as well.
Exactly. So one of the things I will say is that there are some programs that are working with the parents that are offering them discounts due to the unforeseen circumstance that we're currently living through during these
Yeah.
trying times. But there are programs that are refusing to cooperate with these parents and just they are still charging them full price for services that are not being rendered.
And I'm sure those same employers aren't paying their employees. Because if
And
they're
no,
not, then it's shitty that they're even trying to do this.
no, most of them will have to apply for unemployment. Uh, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys have been keeping track, but in the first week we went to quarantine, let me see if I can get the exact date. A couple Mondays back. Uh, let me give you the exact date. Let me just.
So I know unemployment for the state of New York, though, their website crashed once this all started because it's just been getting overloaded with people applying and whatnot.
Alex, are you talking about Monday the 16th?
I want to say either the 16th or the 9th. That that one day alone, more people filed for unemployment on that one day alone than the entire month of February in the
That would
state
be
of
March
Massachusetts.
16th. I was actually at the hospital on Wednesday when I saw that piece of news on the news. When
So
I saw
I
that, I immediately told Nige that she needs to apply today because if that many people applied on that Monday, it's only get the number's only going to be bigger as the days go on.
Yeah, so it hasn't gotten any better, and it's just going to keep pouring. It's just going to keep getting worse. I mean, I do believe that unfortunately we are only just at the beginning. This is just in its infancy, and I mean, with more and more cases, I mean, even the numbers that are confirmed is not even close to the real numbers since we have no idea who has the corona since we can't test everyone, which is
Correct.
unfortunate considering the fact that we live in this what's supposed to be considered the greatest country in modern, in the our during our times. That
It's
we
definitely
don't.
a country.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that this first world country of ours would have the necessary tools and equipment in order to ensure that its citizens are well protected and ready for something like this.
And I kind of understand there not being enough tests because this virus is still so very new, at
Mhm.
least uh, to us. Maybe it's been
But
around longer, but like everything just sucks surrounding
yeah,
it.
I do believe we did have ample time to prepare for this since
Oh,
We did.
100%.
yeah, because China went into quarantine way back, so we should have been prepared at least for the influx of cases that we were. America was always going to get hit and hit hard because it was around Chinese New Year's that people, people were still migrating, and Boston being a hot spot for Asian tourism because of our Chinatown, amongst other things. And
I
our
will say I do
universities.
notice that every January and every like July or August at the store, because we get a lot of influx of tourists. Yeah.
So I would say that, yeah, I mean, other than that, um, even with this quarantine, I just don't think it's. I mean, the idea is just to I don't know, reach a peak as soon as possible and hope for the numbers of the cases to start dwindling.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's going to be a while before that even happens. I mean, now
Yeah.
with the 2 cases at Market Basket in Chelsea, who knows how many people were infected, and we have no idea if the employees of Market Basket that were infected were either front of the line workers or back of the house. With no way of knowing, it's possible that that they infected other people, and they came in contact with the general population, and one thing leads to another, and
I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, regardless of what their actual position was, that's easily going to be a big deal, because it's like, say they were like overnight workers who were restocking the shelves or helping clean. They're going to infect their coworkers. Their coworkers are going to infect their family. I mean, granted, if they were overnight workers, then hopefully all they did was infect those people, and I hate myself for saying that, but better than the few than the many kind of thing.
the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how I lead.
Sacrifice the few to protect the whole type
Yeah,
thing.
like that's kind of how I've been dealing with this. It's like, okay, I got to do everything I can to protect everyone else who I don't see.
Yeah. I don't mean to, just move along, but kind of spent a long time on this, and we have one more thing to talk about. So,
Oh Lord.
I
I
mean,
was hoping we'd hit an hour and just be like, well, we can't do that now.
well, we're getting close to a half an hour, guys. So,
Only half an
yeah.
hour? I'm at like 40 minutes.
yeah, I know, right? I just feel like we're just getting started.
Right? Like, I haven't actually really talked about my week. Although,
Go ahead. No,
because
no,
of
go ahead.
his position, I don't want to go into further what he does. Just want to reiterate, it's like washing your hands, stuff like that. Don't go out if you don't need to. Obviously, like our advisory, you can probably
Yeah,
correct
we're
me if
gonna
I'm
have to
wrong.
beat this so many
Um,
times.
huh?
You called me like by my name twice already within the last
Jesus
30
Christ!
seconds.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I have to edit
Yeah.
all this. Dan doesn't have to do anything. So,
You got a long night ahead of you, anyways. Why do I care? Well, anyways, sorry again, Lex. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, in Massachusetts right now, like he was mentioning earlier that he went out for a jog. I'm pretty sure I've heard Governor Baker say it's like, we're not stopping you from like doing activities like working out or things that you can't do from home. Just try to limit how much of it you're doing outside. And again, that's just for Massachusetts. But again, wash your hands.
yeah, we
Don't
can't.
go to
We
Home
can't
Depot and
really.
buy paint cans because you're bored. You can do that on Amazon or on HomeDepot.com.
Yeah.
/ Joey works there.
We can't really say it enough. Make sure you wash your hands 20 seconds at least, soap and water. Clean them nice and get it nice and clean.
Get
Practice,
between your fingers, just
yeah, practice
up to the
social
wrist.
distancing because we don't want to, like, the whole thing is like the very young and the very old or like they're gonna most likely die in most cases if they catch it. So, and that's what this whole thing is about. We're trying to prevent, a lot of people from catching it at the same time, so that way we can prevent that from happening. And if you can stay home, if you're not an essential worker, if you don't need to leave the house, don't leave the house.
I think I can echo that perfectly into my week. Lex is gonna hate hearing this, for the millionth time probably this week, even though I've only talked to him once this week. I'm blessed enough that I live like on the fourth floor above my store in a nice part of Boston, right by the MBTA. So me getting to work, and just to be clear, we're closed to the public. None of that. No, we don't play that. Homie don't play that. So I just get in, I keep the sign flipped as closed, I turn on the lights, and I just start responding to emails. We're shipping orders out via the post office because it's a lot more cost effective that way for us currently. I've spent my week pretty much just trying to do my part to keep the store afloat. We earlier today came down to a number that like, okay, we need to do these numbers so that we don't lose our ass on the store, and by that I mean just paying vendors, paying for me being there, and I'm there. I was before doing 40 hours a week full time as the manager, and now I have to scale back to at least 24, and I try to aim to be there as little as possible. But considering everything we're going through, we have to get like a new website going to show people, because we're doing our best with social media and showing people what we carry. But when you've had Amazon for as long as you can remember, and you can just click and pay for it really fast, calling to pay over the phone is something you did in like 1998. So I've been doing my best to like get orders out and also work on the new website and try to get the eBay store going, and it's just like one thing after another. Today just felt like one thing after another, and then Governor Baker said May 4th is the new advisory date. That was rough because it just felt like another domino falling over, and it's just, in my mind, I'm getting worried because we're a local comic book store. Comics in 2020 could be doing a lot better. There are a lot of things comic companies could be doing better. There's a lot of things the distribution company could be doing better. Or doing better to help all these stores out a lot more. Diamond has stopped shipping new comics, so it's very sad that April 1st is April Fool's Day, and people might be thinking, oh, there's going to be new comic books. Not in stores, no. I actually learned that over the weekend, DC had said they're moving forward with their digital comics. So the next issue of Batman, you can download and read tomorrow. And guess what? You don't have to wait. So that puts us in a tough position, because now it's like, well, that issue of Batman, half of our customers may have already read at this point. Some of them are too impatient to wait. And as a consumer, if it's there, you're just going to buy it, right? I can't blame them as a consumer, especially when like you're at home all the time, you're on the internet all the time, and it's like spoilers are a thing. It's sad but true. You see comicbook.com all the time with like headlines. It's like, you won't believe who died in this issue of blah blah blah.
Well, spoilers.
Bad. I'm sorry, blah didn't die. It was blah blah blah. My bad. So it just sucks for us in that way, and we're very lucky that we're getting any customers willing to just email us what they want and then call us to give us their credit card information. It's not the best system, but it's what we have to do right now, and I'm doing my best to try to get the website up. And getting our books on the website is one thing, but then now I got to figure out who is our shipping vendor going to be, or what vendor are we going through to ship through USPS or UPS or whatever the case may be. So like, I'm trying to figure that out at the same time, as well as putting through all these orders, because the owner is also a teacher. He's teaching full time now, and he has to teach all his classes online. So it's like, all right, it helps that he lives directly behind the store. That's very helpful, because as soon as he finishes his class, he can jump into the store real quick, see if we need anything. But it's not very long, because he has to go right into his next class. So he kind of has to stay in his apartment to get ready and decompress from that class and move on to the next. So today, like, my anxiety kind of got to me. after that press conference, and like I'm seeing emails that I didn't know were there, sort of thing. Just kind of like, crap, there's one more thing I have to do. At least that was today. The rest of the week has been more or less the same, just without me having to worry too much about the website. I've been doing what I can to make that happen. It's just today kind of clicked. It's like, we need this up in the next week. The sooner the better, of course. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to have to put in a lot of hours, and I'm going to see a return on those hours for a long time. So it's kind of like, what do you do? I'm very blessed in that my landlord is working with me on the rent, and that like he's helped me out. He's bending things as much as possible. Of course, landlord, like, he has to pay condo fees and he has to pay state taxes every quarter. So it's like, okay, what works for you, so that at the very least, because March, we were already halfway through the month when the advisory hit, so like I already had half the rent prepared and ready to go. So like we were lucky in that. But April is going to be another story, considering we're here until May 4th. So now we got to figure out, okay, what am I going to pay May 1st? So that's been my concern. But like the way everything's been going, we all kind of have to take it day to day almost. And I'm very much the kind of person that has to think. I think long term, but I have to think short term in this time, because of everything going on. It sucks, but it's kind of where we're at. Yeah, that's been me. That's been my week. I'm doing the best I can. Me and Nige were getting stir crazy up here, so we're doing the best. Yeah. I will say though, I did a bad thing. I've been playing Animal Crossing every chance I get. Bro, do you have Animal Crossing?
I don't. No,
Bruh.
I have to get it.
Bruh. I will send you a code if I have to. I'm just enjoying it that much. Like, I'm just sitting there catching butterflies, fishing, just kind of like, you know what? It's an easy game to play. You just kind of do whatever you want. You might get swarmed by bees and killed by a tarantula, but like, you know what? It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's been a nice way to break up like the moments where it's like frustrating, and it's amazing too, because like a combination of like quarantines everywhere and Animal Crossing coming out, no one can find a Switch. It sucks, but that's pretty cool for Nintendo. But I'm sure Nintendo would be like, rather like, hey, we'd rather have systems out there for people to buy, especially during this time.
It sounds like a Nintendo problem.
Sounds like a first world Nintendo problem.